Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the CD guy, Johnny Z here. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing the new Green Day studio album, Saviors. I really should preface this video by saying that I'm not a big Green Day fan. As a matter of fact, I'm really not a Green Day fan at all, but I was definitely wrong about this album. This is their best record since American Idiot, and I was totally wrong for sleeping on Saviors. So that's what I'm going to be doing here today. I'm going to be taking a look at this record that I find to be, highly enjoyable, even as a non-Green Day fan. So with that in mind, let's get started here with some fast album facts. This is the 14th studio album by Green Day, released today on January 19th, 2024 through Reprise Records, and this is a follow-up to The Father of All from 2021. Personnel here on this album, you have Billie Joe Armstrong on lead vocals and guitars, Mike Dirnt on the bass, and Trey Cool on the drums, and this album was produced by Rob Cavallo. Time for John's 5, my top 5 favorite songs from the new album. Coming in at number 1, my favorite track has to be The American Dream Is Killing Me. Very fun lead single for the album, and when it first dropped, I really wasn't super psyched about it just because I wasn't super psyched about this album, but I really like its placement here on the record. It's up-tempo with, great hook. It makes for a fine album opener as far as I'm concerned. Definitely an earworm of a song, so it's easy to tell as to why it was picked to be the lead single. Very fun track here, and a great way to start off the record. Coming in at number 1, my favorite song from this album has to be the lead single, The American Dream Is Killing Me. Number 2, I'm going to go with Dilemma. This track definitely caught my attention right away because it's a different sound for the band, tuned in drop D, which is something the band don't often do. And Billie Joe Armstrong is no stranger to introspective lyrics, and this song is a fine example of that with a really explosive chorus. It's definitely more on the pop-punk side of things, but it's also pretty heavy as well. Following that up now with my number 3, I'm going to go with Father to a Son. The reason why this track stuck out so much to me is that, it's great to hear a band like Green Day, who are now in their 50s, are not living in 1997, where they're all 25 years old anymore, but rather writing music from the approach of, someone with different priorities, someone their age, and so that adds more introspective ripples to this album, especially on Father to a Son. Oddly enough, one impression I got when listening to this track was that it wouldn't sound all that out of place on the new Foo Fighters album, but here we are. But if you remember how deep that album was, then you'll know what I'm talking about. But ultimately, it makes for a refreshing change in pace, I thought, and a different atmosphere as well that is, different from, the rest of this record here, so, which is otherwise pretty upbeat and, a rocking album. So I enjoy the diversity in that respect. I think this song made for, like I said, a great change of pace. I'm going to go with Corvette Summer for number 4. This is a very 90s sounding track, and in my opinion, wouldn't sound out of place on one of their earlier records. It's another upbeat sounding track with very interesting lyrics. It's very poppy for sure, but still one of my favorite songs from Saviors without a doubt. And finally, to round out my top 5 here, I'm going to go with Coma City. I definitely got Ramones vibes from this track, and, especially from the backing vocals in particular. I really thought that's definitely influenced by the Ramones. It's a fun song for sure, with some definite re-listenable qualities, and another one of my favorites here to round out John's 5. Gotta go with Coma City. Ultimately, I'm giving this album 7.5 out of 10 stars. This is by far the best Green Day album in 20 years since the release of American Idiot in 2004. The lyrics don't sound phoned in, and Green Day haven't sounded this motivated in the studio in a long time. Typically I'm not one for Billie Joe Armstrong's vocals. Again, not a Green Day fan, but I really like the production on here. I think it makes for a pretty easy listen. It's not a perfect album. Songs like Goodnight Adeline sounds like I'm suddenly listening to Weezer, so it's not a perfect record. I'm just not a big fan of a lot of those angsty 90s bands, but Green Day definitely sound mature here on this record while still being able to capture the, youthful sound of their younger selves. So I enjoyed that aspect here of this album. Still not the world's biggest Green Day fan or anything like that, but this album definitely caught me off guard. And I'll admit when I'm wrong, I was definitely wrong for sleeping on Saviors. Very strong record here by the band. For fans of Green Day, I could definitely see them, being pleased with some of the callbacks to their older, more classic work. And, for myself, as a casual listener, it's a fun and engaging album at its very least, and definitely marked an improvement from their previous few albums. So I'm very pleased with that, and I'm pleased to say that I was pleasantly surprised with this album here, which I was not expecting to, be a banger. And quite frankly, being a non-Green Day fan myself, really wasn't going to give this album the time of day, but I'm glad I listened to it, and I'm glad that I was proven wrong here. So, again, even though I don't love Green Day, I really do enjoy this album. I think 7.5 out of 10 stars is fair. So, that wraps up my review of the new Green Day studio album, Saviors. Again, from a non-Green Day fan, I really enjoyed it. So, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, turn on the bell for notifications so you don't miss a new upload. I've got a few other reviews coming to the channel today, new Judas Priest song to review, new Saxon studio album to review as well, so definitely stay tuned to that that throughout the day. I'll be posting those reviews sporadically. And, let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on the new Green Day studio album. Did you enjoy it? Did it live up to the hype? Is it the best Green Day album in 20 years? I want to hear from you. So please let me know that good stuff down in the comment section below. And until next time, it's the CD guy, Johnny Z, signing off. Take care, everybody.